What does the customer say? So a lot of times we hear about these changes in the way you work, and it's like, we need to do a structural change and, change the world of how the way we work. So a lot of large organizations, and I'm not saying there's not ways you could become more lean, and just like how the sciences are collaborating um, within the sciences space, thanks to Carl Sagan and other scientists like himself, we should be doing similar, right? Combining some of these, making less pillars, but the pillars will exist. We cannot take away the fact that specialization and, me as a traditional technical people leader, or a senior manager, if you would, it would be very tough for me to be a senior manager of a group of lawyers, right? It requires a different skill set in terms of what they need. So those remain important. It's down here, right? The processes that we've made processes, these static, stagnant things that don't change. But processes are just enablers. We are the people. The customer is the people. We need to tell the processes what to do. And what we end up having is, we the vision from the customer or from the board or the executives. It's so far from those who are developing the solutions, who are supposed to understand and manage the experience. And even the operators who are so close with all the data, they're so far away from the development. And that's what really causes, one, either breakdown, right? Poor quality in the space. Two, very, very, very heavy costs associated to the transition or the movement of here. You'll have lots of people like change managers and project managers and program managers for those project managers. And it's all there to try to shorten this gap. Now, if we take best practices that are available in the industry, right? There's no way GM squared is suggesting that these frameworks are new. It's just using Mind.Set is what we're suggesting. We move the customer to the center of everything, right? Decisions from the top to the bottom are all centered around the customer, the external customers and the internal customers, right? They're also customers. We align everybody to those goals. Allow them to have their specializations in terms of their org structure for their growth, for their individual growth, so that a lawyer can become a better lawyer and a tester can become a better tester and a developer a better developer, etc. But we form value streams for our governance. We work in a manner that makes it easy to govern, where we don't need all of that extra overhead to fill gaps. We just eliminate the gaps. So governance through value streams, and I won't go through a lot of detail here in this presentation, is really focused on trying to get up here, right? Governing our funding, our return on investment, how we respond to the board and the street and our other stakeholders and customers and clients, etc. We just use that information to operate, right? So we don't have to do too much translation. It's very different from the fixed or the traditional method of focusing on just one small piece of scope, one change, releasing it to the customer, and then just moving on to the next change. And no single person working on that change is dedicated to that change. That would be the traditional way, right? We have 10% of this developer and 30% of this tester and 10% of this UX person and 30% of this UI person. And we got to just do our best to make it work for that small change. And meanwhile, for the rest of your organization, what's happening with the remaining 80, 90, or 30, 70% of those individuals? They're working on other projects or changes. It's chaos, right? We're creating quick chaos. And at the end of the day, I can guarantee you, your customer is experiencing that. Like, ooh, I'm receiving change from these different groups. They don't know what they're talking about. Um, and even if you put in the effort, as I described before, so you put in this level of integration that all these changes come together, and only when you've tested and validated, which is not validating, so you're verifying, you're verifying that it's what the customer will want. The cost introduced in that is tremendous, right? It's non-productive, counterintuitive, if you would. So the future is emergent, right? It's up to you to take every day, learn from it, and see what the next day will be. And I will read this one out, right? Because it's one of my favorite quotes. A vision without action is a daydream. Good. I'm not saying anything wrong with daydreams, but it's not productive. There's no action involved in it. And at the same time, action without vision is a nightmare. Just doing things without looking at, did we do this before and it didn't work? Did anything change? Do we need to adjust? Just without any level of planning, which is probably not anymore, but it was in my early career. This huge misunderstanding in Agile that we don't plan. It's quite the opposite. A 2 week sprint in Scrum follows, I don't know, way more than 2 weeks worth of effort from the individuals doing the research and talking to the customer and getting the information so that team can complete the work in 2 weeks. There's a lot of pre-work, if you will. And that is part of the vision, right? Aligning to it.